So could it be that you are unknowingly overwhelming your clients and your customers and your fans with just too much information, maybe even too much value? We hear all the time from the gurus and the experts, you got to deliver value. And so let me explain how this came up and how you can apply it to your particular situation. So I was having a coaching call with a woman recently, and she's in the wellness industry. Like, she's a wellness coach. And we were doing this Zoom session. And after gathering a lot of information from her, I started transitioning into offering some suggestions, and that I would send her a follow-up document with a summary of the things we discussed on our call, and how I was going to give her some specific recommendations in addition to what we discussed on the call. And I made a point to her. I said, as a coach, I don't want to overwhelm you. I don't want to give you 50 things that you could be doing to improve your wellness practice and attract more paying clients and so on. We're going to narrow it down based on this call to the 2 or 3 essential things that you should be doing that are really going to move the needle. And that's what I really say to all of my coaching clients. That's my goal with everyone, not to overwhelm them. I mean, anybody can give you a ton of ideas of things you could do, but what are the most important things that you can be spending and should be spending your time on? So at the end of this call, I asked her, I said, so what are your takeaways? Give me your impression on the things you thought were most helpful from this call. And she said, well, the thing that really stood out for me is your whole thing about simplifying things. And she said, I just had the realization that when I'm helping my clients, I'm overwhelming them with too much information. I give them this long list of wellness practices that they should be doing to improve their lives. And I'm realizing that's why a lot of them don't make a lot of progress, is it's just too many things. They don't know where to start, right? The thing I'm going to start doing my own clients, she said, was to simplify and pick those 2 or 3 things. And so I was really happy to hear that. And so you see where I'm going with this. Are you unknowingly overwhelming your clients and your paying customers and your fans, if you want to call them that too, with just too much information? Because when we're getting paid for something, like people are paying us for either coaching or some kind of a service, we feel like we want to over-deliver. And you do. You want to deliver value. But really, what you want to do is give them information and advice and encouragement that's actually going to help them make a change in their life. That's really going to transform them. It's not about how much information and stuff you give them. It's what are you going to give them that's actually going to allow them to change and to act on the advice. And I think simplifying it is doing them a favor, and it's going to actually have them experience some wins and some successes that they can build on. And then they're going to look at you as, wow, I really made progress working with so-and-so. And so you actually do your people a favor. Not that you're going to skimp or anything or just phone it in. I'm not talking about that. You're really honing in and focusing on the 2 or 3 things. Make it easy, make it doable for them to achieve their goals. And so take a look at the services and the products and the things that you're currently offering. Are you overcomplicating things? Where can you simplify? Where can you make it easy for that client to achieve their goals? Before you head off into the rest of your day, I also want to invite you to download a free copy of my new guide called The Impact Formula. 6 steps to grow an audience, make an impact, and leave a legacy. These are the very same steps I took to grow my YouTube and podcast audiences. And I would love to share that journey with you. Just visit bobbakerinspiration.com to grab your copy now. There's also a link to it in the description or the show notes of this recording. Thanks so much for your time and attention. I hope you benefited from this and found value. Until next time, this is Bob Baker saying so long for now.